this is how God
On the way up to Scarborough,
I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, and revealed them to little children. Yes, Father.
Hello everyone, welcome to our Bible talk this week. It is great to be able to share with you on our new series on encounters with Jesus. I know I'm really excited and looking forward to hearing all about the nature of experiences with Jesus, what impact that has on people in the Bible, people in our church, people that we'll hear about on Oaks Online. But I'm really looking forward to what this series could bring and what I could learn, and I'm really blessed to be able to contribute to that series. But I want to start not with an encounter with Jesus, if that's okay with you. I want to start with an encounter with Aslan. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Narnia series written by C.S. Lewis, but I have been blown away reading them. I've never been that much into fiction, but one of my resolutions last year that I failed at miserably, I'll hold my hands up, was to read more fiction. But what I have been doing is working my way through the Narnia series. And I wonder if I could just read just a small extract from Prince Caspian. And this is Lucy, one of the characters, conversation with Aslan, who is meant to be this Jesus-like, God-like figure. And they've been having a long conversation. We'll pick it up about halfway through, but she's been challenging him to help her siblings to find the way that Aslan is showing them, but only she can see him at this point. So I will read on from halfway through their conversation, if that's okay with you, just so I have some context for you. Here we go, picking up here. "Do you mean that's what you want me to do?" gasped Lucy. "Yes, little one," said Aslan. "Will the others see you too?" asked Lucy. "Certainly not at first," said Aslan. "Later on, it depends." "But they won't believe me," said Lucy. "It doesn't matter," said Aslan. Oh dear, said Lucy. "I was so pleased finding you again, and I thought you'd let me stay. I thought you'd come roaring in, frighten all the enemies away like last time. I know everything is going to be horrid." "It's hard for you, little one," said Aslan, "but things never happen the same way twice. It's been hard for us all in Narnia before now." Lucy buried her head in his mane to hide from his face. But there must have been magic in his mane. She could feel her lion strength growing. Quite suddenly she sat up. "I'm sorry, Aslan," she said. "I'm ready now." "Now you are a lioness," said Aslan, "and now all of Narnia will be renewed. But come, we have no time to lose." I really love the idea of Lucy and Aslan wrestling, and Lucy finding it so difficult what she's being asked to do. But she finds strength in her encounter with Aslan. Not some far off distant encounter, not through the trees or from a distant way or hear his voice far off. No, this is face to face, nestling into his mane, holding him tight. And that's where her transformation comes from. She went from being afraid and timid to being bold and called a lioness. That's a radical transformation, and that's what I want to touch on here today, the transformative nature of encounters with Jesus, how we can be transformed by gazing on his face and drawing close to Jesus. You see, when you encounter Jesus, you don't leave the same. No real encounter, authentic encounter with Jesus leaves you the same when you walk away. Now that's a challenge for us to make, and I'm basing some of that on fiction, but let me put it into context in the Bible. One of Jesus's closest friends, Peter, who before Jesus was crucified was bold but not always in the best way. When Jesus was going to be taken away in the Garden of Gethsemane, Peter pulls out a sword and tries to fight the guards off and ends up cutting off one of their ears. Not his intention, I imagine. And Jesus challenges him to put the sword away and heals the man that was challenged him. And this is the same Peter that denies Jesus 3 times, who, when Jesus is going through this horrible trial, people keep coming up to him and asking him, are you his friend? I'm sure I've seen you with him. I know you know that Jesus. And 3 times he denied him. But after an encounter with the risen Jesus, and how Jesus has sent him and commissioned him away with the help of the Spirit, we see this same Peter, who was bold in some sense, yes, but certainly frightened and afraid, all of a sudden in Acts, the next book after Jesus' life, stand up in front of great crowds of people and speak boldly and confidently, but persuasively. Not brash, not full of gusto, but no real understanding. No, this is someone who was persuasive enough to lead thousands of people to Christ, to transform their lives. Isn't that phenomenal? And often I find it when we think about change and we think about challenge and transformation, we think about all we're going to lose. I know Peter was fixed on all he was going to lose when Jesus said that this was going to happen. He was fixed on what he would lose out on his relationship with Jesus, with him not being there. And we often get caught up in that. I'm caught up in, if I'm going to be transformed, or if God's calling me to change, or I might have to change some things if I want to have a relationship with Jesus, we often focus on what we're going to lose. But actually, can I tell you that an encounter with Jesus transforms us in a way that brings about the best in us. This is not a transformation that robs us. This is a transformation that refines us, that calls out our qualities even better. You see, Peter didn't leave or lose his boldness. Rather, it was refined in a way that was useful and best. You see, Jesus and his encounters with us is like a friend. It's not someone who comes to steal or take away or wants to talk down at us or rob things away from us. No, we often think about religion in that way. We think of religion as trapping us. No, authentic relationship with Jesus calls out our characteristic, calls out our strengths, and refines them in a way that they're best there. You see, our friends call us into relationships, call us into encounter with us, call us into relationship and love that brings out the best in us. They know our character, they know our strengths and our weaknesses, but they call us to be the best versions of ourselves possible. And that's what an encounter with Jesus is all about. Jesus wants to transform us, not because he's disappointed with us, not because we've done anything wrong. Rather, he knows that there is more for us. There's more that we can achieve. There's more in us than we know. He sees us as valuable and important. And there is a radicalness to this. There is a bit of this that is uncomfortable. Make no mistake, Lucy being around a lion, it's a scary experience. She knows the power that's in that place. And yet we know the same is true of Jesus. He was not without his controversies. There was a lot surrounding him, and Peter was so afraid often around that time when he was being crucified that he hid the fact that he knew him. This is not always a comfortable experience. Peter, in his experiences with Jesus, once he's risen again, has some really uncomfortable conversations around how much he loves God. But it was so important for him to hear that, because it changed him into the person that he became, and he achieved great things. Jesus spoke about how the church was going to be built on him. What a claim that is. That transformation process is so important to all of us. I know in my life, my hardest times have been when I've tried to hide away from Jesus' face. I was not willing to address some of the uncomfortable things that he wanted to change in my life. I wasn't ready to let go of some of these things. But you see, with his love and his grace, he walks us through that process. This is not something that you can do. The transformation process isn't something you could do on your own, nor far away. It takes a real intimate connection, just like Lucy comes face to face with Aslan and hides away and nestles in the main close contact. That's what it takes. That's what transformation is. That's what an encounter with Jesus is like. Close, intimate, loving. And yeah, it will bring about some change. And that might not be comfortable, but it's really worth it. It's really, really worth it. We're transformed to reveal the best versions of ourselves, the best that we can be. And there's some real challenges in both these scenarios, whether you've had an encounter with Jesus before or not. And I wanted to leave some challenges, if you want to look at them that way, with you. Challenges that may bring you into an encounter with Jesus or a deeper level with that. So let me leave you with these challenges. If you've never had an encounter with Jesus or never been properly introduced with him, I would challenge you in the same way Lucy goes off exploring and adventuring to try and find this voice that's calling out to her. I would challenge you to go out into nature, to find some time where you're on your own and you're not in a rush to do something else. I know that might be hard for a lot of us in the busyness of the world, but really if you want to have an encounter with Jesus that is something that will transform you, something that will reveal his love for you, then make some space in that time. Walk amongst nature and in the quietness and stillness, see if there is someone calling your name, calling out to you, calling your name to show you that you are loved and valuable, and tell you all the things that have been put in you that he could call out in a blessing. That might be a scary idea to see if there is something out there. I'm well aware of that. But I would really challenge you in that. If you're looking at this series and you'll hear lots more about encounters with Jesus, I would challenge you to try and find an encounter for Jesus for yourself. And there'll be those of you watching who are part of our Oaks Community Church family or part of God's family already, and you've had an encounter with Jesus, and that is exciting and fantastic. I would challenge you to have a fresh, deeper encounter with Jesus. We can never have enough of him. We can never be close enough to really feel it. It's so amazing. I can't put into words what these encounters with Jesus are like. And I would challenge you to have a deeper challenge for him. And you know, the crazy thing about both of these stories, both the story I read about Lucy and the call with Peter, encounters with Jesus led them definitely to reveal who they encountered. You see, Lucy leads her brothers and her sister into a place where they get to see Aslan again. They don't see him at first, but eventually they do. And Peter, the same, in his transformation, leads lots of people to an encounter with Jesus. You see, once we've encountered him and he's transforming us, that is exciting. It is absolutely because he loves us. But it doesn't stop there. Encounters with Jesus transform us so that we can show other people Jesus, so we can reveal that and lead them into encounters with him. Our encounters with Jesus transform us absolutely, but call us to be transformers of other people, to lead them into a place where they are open to receiving that encounter with Jesus, transforming our communities, transforming our world around us. And I would encourage you in your encounters with Jesus, whether that's in worship or through looking at the Bible or what you do in your time with Jesus, I would encourage you to have a conversation with him about how you could reveal or lead other people into encounters with Jesus. I think I'll leave it there. I've set a lot of challenges and a lot of thought-provoking, hopefully, in what I've shared. I know I've been really challenged in looking at this topic of encounter with Jesus, and particularly through these books, but I really hope that you've learned something, that you've managed to think about something differently through what I've shared, and do think about those challenges that I set, that something could change in that place. This could be your moment of transformation or fresh encounter where you lead someone to meet Jesus. How exciting would that be? I hope that you are enjoying this series. I know we're right at the beginning and there'll be plenty more, but do keep checking out the Bible Talks and Oaks Online to see all that we're putting out and contributing. It'd be great to hear from you guys as well through likes and comments what you're enjoying as part of our Oaks Online and Bible Talk series. Thank you very much for listening. I'll leave it there, but have a great week.